Hello everyone, admit it. Have you ever been lying on yourself calmly in bed and trying to fall asleep when an unexpected question suddenly comes to mind? Well, for example, as the waters of the Atlantic and the Pacific do not mix with each other in the place where they do not share the land, and starts article on Wikipedia. But there are some really interesting innovations in it, and a scanner called LiDAR is one of them. Outwardly, it looks like inconspicuous black. But there are some really interesting innovations in it, and a scanner called LiDAR is one of them. Outwardly, it looks like inconspicuous black. Next to one of the three cells, by the way, a scanner appeared on the new version of the iPad and LiDAR, and used in systems autopilot where they act as the eye's self-driving cars. So what is it in fact? Before us, a pulsed laser which is capable of generating 3D model the surrounding space. Technology you can use many different ways, for example to play video games using elements augmented reality, or download smartphone three-dimensional design project specific premises and edit. It's right on the screen. By the way, works the scanner at the level of photons. That means bad lighting does not hurt. Use an interesting feature, captcha for bots. Hardly anything in the internet could annoy you more than the need to choose pictures from a picture of a train or in the water illegible inscription when you urgently need to find the answer to the burning question. But alas, if sites and search engines unstable, and its services protection bots, they just drowned in the flow of spam. On the other hand, artificial intelligence with age becoming more sophisticated, brewing a reasonable question whether robot to prove he's not a robot. If we are talking about traditional captcha where you propose to introduce a distorted characters, the chance of a bot to bypass at the maximum here. He would help the system automatic character recognition. But if we are talking about captcha technology that has been used by Google since 2009, everything is much more complicated. Such a protection system does not analyze only the user input, but in move and boom's LCD as well as your browser history. Sounds, softly speaking, a little scary, but bots are not terrible, but the fact that we are all under the hood, humanity and suspects. So long meow dog breed which are rather like dogs, for example Oriental, they are master's toys. Teeth go near his feet lends itself to training, biting lips and more similar to their furry wayward rivals. Another as moreover, there is even the breed which can make cat sounds. It is called the Basenji, or African, not a barking dog. But it's not that these animals differ extremely modesty, or just don't like talk to a catch hidden in laryngeal ventricles of the dog. He is in such a way that does not allow voice cords vibrate on light clean some handlers at all. I think that this feature African the breeders developed the special below the dog did not attract the attention of predators. So instead of barking, Basenji screams and fights, not even a little onion at white spots when you probably noticed that sometimes the nails appear for no reason. Light some point in my childhood to believe that if you make a wish and wait until the spot disappears it will come true. So that all the same meaning of this strange pigmentation. Let's start with the fact that in most cases it is absolutely harmless and appear, and if a nail accidentally damaged, for example, and we hit some object or scratch during a manicure, in addition, it may be a manifestation of allergic reaction to nail polish or means for removing it. And finally, common, the appearance of white spots on the fingernails also may indicate a lack of in the body some minerals and vitamins. Before only zinc or calcium. If cute dots on the fingernails you cannot bother and are rare, there is no reason to worry. But if they covered the entire nail plate, mushroom confuse the pain. Better refer to the fake doctor seasoning. Have you ever tried wasabi? Even if you're not a regular at restaurants, Japanese dishes, you probably answered in the affirmative and turned out to be wrong. Really, even in the Japan 99% of the restaurants served fish are not real seasoning. Paint your face green and a mixture of ordinary horseradish and mustard. The reason is simple. Wasabi, also known as Japanese F3 May, is the most expensive in the world. Plants for growing very hard to take care of. It ripens a few years and after collection retains its taste and aroma only for 15 minutes, so that very rare luxury restaurants where all still delivers authentic wasabi is gather from the garden directly on site. Institution immediately grind into a paste. Speak to taste it much softer than his simulation, and it even seems a little sweet. Unit of measure, you for sure know the concept of horsepower that many countries still use for the measurement of engine power vehicles. If you talk logically, one such unit is the traction, the power of one horse, but in reality it is not so. Really, the maximum, the production capacity of this, the animal can reach 15 HP forces, while people can barely boast one, is only in the case if he is actively involved in sports. But the reason why Scottish inventor James was erected to as the first steam engines The term horsepower extremely prosaic whole thing in marketing if the engineer has proposed to replace the cattle on the engine which has such the same pulling power nobody hasn't bought it, and another thing declared that the invention substitutes 10 horses allergic to the owner once discharged, the cat, and the next again. You start to sneeze or suffer a runny nose, do not rush to ascribe to him the cold, maybe it's something worse, such as allergic to you reactions can cause not only pets and humans and vice versa. The reason is usually dandruff that accumulates on the scalp. From it dogs and cats can sneeze and itch a lot, as well as from many other allergens. But do not rush to despair in case of severe allergies to humans. Among pets are quite rare, not the usual insurance. If you tell one of your friends that you are scared to death of being abducted by aliens, they probably won't really understand you. But there is one place where such concern will be taken quite calmly, and even offer solutions. And we are not talking about a psychologist. Recently in one insurance agency Florida there is a new service, the payment of damages in the $10 million to those who suffered from alien abductions, but there is one hitch: payment will be $1 a month for 10 million years. Well, what you wanted Shark Extreme a few years ago. Scientists who doing research near Solomon Islands has made an incredible open within the active underwater volcano Cabocha. They found floating ground them and silky sharks find very surprised biologists because the crater is very high, the temperature and acidity of the water, and usually in such conditions the fish just don't survive. In addition to the surface of the ocean, even you can see from the bottom rise the bubbles of carbon dioxide and methane based around. Sharks have adapted to this environment in the course of evolution. But how do scientists yet to figure out? Figurines Lego. These tiny creatures from all famous designers are usually make children a real delight, but many adults on the contrary seem a little creepy, and no wonder if desired figures Lego could really to enslave the human world. To the past year, their population has already exceeded all the population of the planet, and that's not counting those what was broken, discarded and given to processing. I wonder how much square kilometers needed to put them all on one piece of land. Cap Chief, you probably noticed that is a white headdress, is the hallmark of uniforms professional chefs, and could note that on some of the caps there are usually many folds of fabric grass. It goes far back in history and of course, related to the rich culinary culture of France. There the white robes of the chefs would enter be hot back in the 19th century and remain in the year to this day. But not only wears caps, kitchen managers can also be their assistants. In this case the height of their caps will be lower than the chefs, and the number of folds on the headdress is less. The maximum number of these folds used to reach hundreds as a sign that a cook can cook an egg in hundreds of ways. Today this custom is already a thing of the past, although the cap of the restaurant chef will still be different from the rest. Hey buddy, tired of videos about mimic animals and lamp stories? It's time to switch to something really serious. The most brutal cars, the coolest robots, and secret gadgets like